For folks who don't have the pleasure of serving on the T&I committee, as you and I do, Mr. Speaker, I will tell you that the WRDA bill authorizes the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for all of their activities across the spectrum, from construction to maintenance. It's the water infrastructure maintenance of harbors and locks and dams, of flood control projects, of water supply projects across the nation, coast to coast. The underlying bill continues the reforms that this Congress began, that the President signed in the WRDA bill of 2014 by strongly asserting Congress's authority over Corps activities, and again restoring the 2-year WRDA cycle that has been missing for far too long. This return to regular order, Mr. Speaker, I would argue is going to take the politicking out of these projects and return the WRDA bill to being that bipartisan bill that focuses on Congress's priorities as spoken by our constituents back home, rather than, as sometimes happens, the Corps taking direction from unelected bureaucrats downtown. I believe that we get a better work product when we collaborate together, again, manifesting the will of our constituency back home. If you need to see what this return to regular order has meant, Mr. Speaker, just look at the 30 chief reports or the 29 feasibility studies included in this bill. Again, if you don't serve on T&I, chiefs reports and feasibility studies may not mean much to you. But if you are involved in water infrastructure anywhere in this country, you know that those reports are vital to moving your project forward. You know that the feasibility study is critical to moving your project forward. Each one of these has been reviewed by the Transportation Infrastructure Committee in public hearings, just as we had done in the WRDA bill of 2014. Mr. Speaker, this kind of open and transparent process, I would argue, has given us a better work product in the underlying bill and is going to give us a better rule here today. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about our waterways, I had to write the stats down here. I don't have them committed to memory, but they're mind-boggling. 600 million tons of cargo moving on our waterways, Mr. Speaker. That's $230 billion in economic value moving on our inland waterways each year. $1.4 trillion worth of goods moving in and out of our ports each year. $320 billion in federal, state, and local revenue generated by those ports. Over one quarter, Mr. Speaker, of the gross domestic product of the entire United States of America comes from international trade, and 99% of cargo moves through the ports controlled by this legislation. Mr. Speaker, we're talking about over 40 million American jobs tied to international trade, and again, supported by this bill brought out of committee in a bipartisan and unanimous fashion. I'm very proud to support the underlying bill. This bill makes an order time for the chairman and ranking member of the T&I committee to debate this bill. And I'm very proud that the Rules Committee has seen fit to allow those members who do not serve on T&I to make their voice heard as well. Mr. Speaker, this is a definition of how we should be doing things in this institution. I'm proud to bring this rule to the consideration of my colleagues today. I'm proud of the underlying bill that this rule supports. I hope all of my colleagues will join me in supporting the rule and the underlying bill. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.